Hello my lovelies. Welcome to day 15 of our 40 days of loving on your brain and healing your soul in the process challenge. I shortened it again, as I do. And we didn't start this 15 days ago, it's more than 15 days. But, as I'm sure some of you have noticed, we've been doing like every other day sometimes. And also, I think some of these different topics that we're talking about do need a bit of time to digest. I'm laughing because I'm coming up with the most explanations for my inconsistency, but it's all in perfect timing and we are all receiving 40 helpings of, ways to love on our brain and give our soul a big hug in the process. So for today, we are talking about clarity. Now, clarity is having a clear understanding about something. Where there is clarity, there is peace. Where there is a lack of clarity, that's where anxiety is often present. When I first started to learn that I had mental health issues and that I needed to be more loving to myself and I needed to love on my brain, the thing that helped me the most, the thing that was the most freeing, was gaining an understanding about what it was that was actually going on inside of me, inside of my mind, inside of my body. And when I got that understanding, it helped me to really tackle things and to know what I would need to do as an individual. Not everybody who had the same conditions as me, but what I would need to do as an individual to make sure that I could manage the symptoms that I was experiencing or decrease them and live a life where I was feeling productive and peaceful and just not bound by struggles like I had done previously. Understanding myself helped me to love myself because I stopped looking down on myself. I stopped thinking about all the ways that I'm not good enough and the ways that I seem weird and can't perform at a certain level or in ways that other people do. I learned what I was actually experiencing, how my brain worked, what I needed to flourish, and it helped me to create the boundaries I needed and also to explain myself sometimes. Not that I had to explain myself to people, if I felt like I was falling short, but I mean, just to explain what I need and how things work for me. I couldn't even explain that to myself before. So it was really empowering to understand all the different aspects to my life, my character, my mind, and it gave me peace. Just like I said, clarity leads to peace. It really did. I was just a lot more clearer on who I was and why I struggled in some of the ways that I did. And that caused me to be less hard on myself and to really create an environment that worked for me. And as I said, it's different for everyone. You can have the same diagnosis as someone or have the same, background. You don't even have to have a diagnosis of any kind, but you can have a very similar life to somebody else, but you won't be experiencing it in the same way as them. So gaining clarity on who you are, what you're going through, and what works for you is so important. So what I want to do today with you is I want to challenge you, and this is your task. I want to challenge you to spend some time researching things that you have a lack of clarity around. Is there something that you struggle with, that you go through, that you feel, that you've been diagnosed with, that people around you talk about and you don't really, understand? What area of your life could you make easier and lighter if you just had a little bit more understanding? As an example, if a person has been diagnosed with, say, ADHD from a young age. I wasn't diagnosed with ADHD from a young age, I was 30. But what I did is I just went full force into researching all the different aspects of ADHD, what they mean, how to manage them, and I broke it down and went in. But if someone has been diagnosed with something like ADHD as a child, then they might have just been taking medication for their whole life, been told that they are a certain thing in a certain way because of this ADHD, but they don't actually know what's going on in their brain. So for me, it was really interesting to find out that people with ADHD have an understimulated brain. That made me understand why I'm always looking for stimulation whilst doing something. Like people say, oh, you know, someone with ADHD can't concentrate, or, you know, can't focus on one thing at a time. Well, when your brain's understimulated and it's looking for stimulation everywhere, then we might find the most stimulating thing in front of us, which could be a phone, when in actual fact we've got more important things to be doing, but we're just looking at, you know, things that stimulate our brain. And also learning that a person with anxiety might have heart palpitations and sweaty palms. That helped me to understand what was happening when out of the blue I would feel like I'm having a heart attack, or I would just feel like there was something wrong with me because my hands are always so sweaty. I actually would look at it as a thing where, oh, you know, there was all sorts of, you know, derogatory things I used to think about myself because of the fact that I used to always have sweaty palms. Knowing that that's a symptom of anxiety, and knowing that these things could indicate that I'm anxious, it just helped me understand myself and stop looking down on myself so much. I hope I'm making sense. I feel like I'm jumping all over the place with this, but I just want to encourage you to spend some time gaining clarity on who you are, based on some of the things you go through. You're not defined by labels, symptoms, experiences at all. But there could be things that you go through and you struggle with on a day-to-day basis. And if you just had a bit more understanding about why those things come up and how you can manage them, then you can have a lot more peace than you're having. And you can build on your self-esteem by having that level of understanding towards yourself too. So get your journals out and write down areas that I would like to gain more clarity. And then write as many as you can. It could be to do with your loved ones, or, you know, different. It could be even to do with the career path you want to go down. If you want to be a vet, but you're currently nowhere near on the journey to doing it, having clarity about the journey, that can also give you a level of peace, because you can see all the steps from going from where you are now to being a vet. And then the picture is clear. You know, it's not just about things we're going through, but what areas of your life could you put some effort into gaining clarity around that would make you feel better, more empowered, more peaceful, and yeah, just more confident too. I hope this has been helpful and made sense. I feel like I'm a little bit rushed and all over the place. This is what happens on some of the days where I want to do a video, but I don't feel quite prepared to do a video. So I decide, okay, let me just do a written post. And I think, no, they deserve a video today, and I don't get around to it, but at least I've done it today. This is what trying to be consistent when you don't feel 100% looks like, guys. It happens to all of us. I'm looking forward to hearing from those of you that are more verbal about this journey, and people that haven't been yet. Please feel free to share areas of your life that you're going to commit to gaining some clarity around. Again, it could be how to get from A to B. It could be, you know, career-wise or relationship-wise, or, you know, inner healing-wise, or learning things about yourself. Just gaining clarity that leads to a higher sense of self. Also, a reminder that to keep your eyes open for the events section. We are having regular chats, not just, it's called, you know, Loving on Your Brain Live, but it's not necessarily about, you know, we're not talking about every single day. We're just talking about what it's like to love on your brain, love on yourself, put that effort in. And yeah, we pick out some of the different days that different people are going through, you know, the different topics we've been talking about, forgive me. Yeah, we just talk about whatever comes up. Some people who are in there are on day 1, some are on day 5, some are up to date. We're all at different stages of this challenge, and we're all doing it at our own pace. So if you do feel like just hanging out, having a little chit chat, talking about self-love and just life in general, that's how the chats have been going, and they're so enjoyable. So whoever's seen them, whoever's come to any of these lives, please comment and vouch. But yeah, I'll speak to you guys soon, and yeah, happy weekend.